See how to lose weight without exercise Tuesday at 11.
Tuesday, April 3rd, will mark another opening day for the Detroit Tigers. America Park, America's premier sports entertainment center, is ready for its second season. The fans are hopeful it will be a journey worth remembering, not another disappointing year. But what about the team? Are the Tigers ready to roar on the field and cuddle up to the community off the field? Today on Spotlight, an in-depth look at Detroit's Major League Baseball club from the inside out. Our guest, Tigers President and Chief Executive Officer John McHale Jr., Team Manager Phil Garner, Community Relations Director Celia Bobrowski, and Community Advisory Board member Jim Stapleton. I'm Chuck Stokes, and this is a Spotlight on the News special.
Make your health your #1 priority. Join Channel 7 and Project Healthy Living and take advantage of free and low-cost health screenings. Call this number for a site near you.
Embarrassed by unwanted hair? Permanent Hair Removal Centers can help. BHR Centers certified technicians using only FDA-approved lasers can remove hair anywhere on your body for any skin tone. We also offer free consultations to help you feel better about yourself. Now, with 5 locations metro-wide at Skin and Vein Centers. Come on, get lased. Stop feeling less than your best. Call 877-VIP-HAIR. Call today and get 10% off your first treatment. That's 1-877-VIP-HAIR.
Just so you get used to all the hauling you'll do with the new Chevy Silverado, we'd like you to haul away something for us. Now, GM employees can lease a 2001 Silverado half-ton four-wheel drive extended cab LS for $319 a month after bonus offer. Residency restrictions apply. Call for lease details. The $319 a month Silverado lease. See your Chevy dealer today.
Joining me now via satellite from Tampa, Florida, is Coach Phil Garner, the leader of the Detroit Tigers, number 33. We appreciate you joining us on Spotlight today, Coach.
You bet.
Coach, you're about to begin your second year leading the Tigers. However, this is the 7th losing season for the Tigers. Last year, you finished with 79 wins and 83 losses. What kind of goals have you set for yourself and the team for 2001?
Well, we certainly want to be better than we were last year. We thought we played pretty good in the middle part of the season. It was the first part in the end that we didn't do very well at to complete what we'd done so well in the middle of the summer. We obviously want to get off to a little better start. Even if we don't, if we play as well as we did in the middle of the season last year, but finish it out in September. We got on such a good roll. We were within 3 cards of the wild card race. 3 games rather, and then we died out. We weren't able to finish our task. So we're working towards that goal. We've had a wonderful spring training, absolutely uneventful, and I think everybody's about ready to go.
Certainly all the fans are waiting for opening day and they're ready to see the Tigers come from Florida back up here. But when you get here, what kind of changes will the fans see on the field?
Well, we're a different ball club. We're going to have a different personality. Number one, we have one of the objects we went out for in the winter, our objectives, rather in the winter, we wanted to add speed to the ball club. We wanted to add some players that made a little better contact. We need to have a better on-base percentage, overall better on-base percentage on our team, even though we improved those numbers as the season went on last year, certainly from the prior couple of years. We did a wonderful job on that, but we felt like we'd even do a little bit more. We added Roger Cedeno, who 2 years ago had 66 stolen bases for the Mets, led the National League. Last year he broke his hand stealing a base, so he was cut down a little bit from that, and he missed a couple of months of the season. We also added Mitch Molesky, who's a tremendous hitter, hit 400 with men in scoring position, led the National League in that category. And we feel like that he's going to do the same thing for us. He had a very high a 400 on-base percentage as well. That is going to help our offense a great deal. And even though we don't have Juan Gonzalez back, we'll replace him with the likes of Billy McMillan, who did a wonderful job for us last year and actually put up very good numbers. So we think he's a solid hitter, too.
Coach, from a business standpoint, the management had to cut about $5 million from the payroll as you go into this season. Does that concern you as a coach in terms of what you have to do and produce on the field?
I think in the long run it might end up being a concern, but in the short term, certainly not. I think we've improved our ball club over last year, and I think we got a chance of playing better than we did last year. So while I would have liked to have gone out and a bunch of free agents, we quickly found out that the free agent market went absolutely crazy last year. It wasn't going to be money that was going to be well spent. It was the top players that we would have wanted to attract didn't want to come to us. They had their places earmarked, and that's what it was going to be. So I don't think that you can spend a ton of money. Baltimore's proven that, a ton of money and not win. I think we're in a position where if our players do what we expect of them, we're in a position to have a very good season.
You and your wife Carol and the players also have a role off of the field, and you do a lot of things out in the community. Why is it important for you to get out to talk with people, talk with kids, go to schools, and also emphasize that with the players?
Well, we feel like that the players themselves are considered role models in the community. We get a lot of kids down here in spring training that when the kids get on spring break from up there, they come down here, they seek autographs, they emulate the players' batting styles, they emulate the players' lives to a certain extent. So the players have been very conscientious about taking a role in certain responsibilities that are afforded them in the community by putting their monies into charity, putting their time into some charities, and a lot of it you never do hear about. We want to be part of the community, even though we may live in other places, but we feel like it's certainly a responsibility, and we're glad to do it.
How important is it to get the message out to young people, kids, to stay in school, to not do drugs? And can players have perhaps a bigger impact on these young people than perhaps even their parents?
Well, and I don't ever think that a player could take the place of a parent. We can only enforce what good parenting can start, and that is we know what happens when players use drugs. We've seen it in some circumstances. It deteriorates the body, the mind, and the spirit. It's going to wreck your lives, and that's one thing that we can take the message out to the people. And if we can reinforce what parents and school teachers and local community leaders have already started, then we're happy to be able to do that. In some rare cases, if a student or a young man or a young lady doesn't want to pay attention to anybody and we're able to get through to them, then that's great. But I think our role is to be supporting cast members for what school board members and school teachers and all those other more closely oriented figures are going to tell their children.
Coach, about 60 seconds left in the amount of time that we have. A lot of people are concerned about your health. Can you give us a quick update? How are you? I know you passed the kidney stone not too long ago.
It was very painful, Chuck, but it's all over and done with. And those good friends up in Michigan that have had that problem not realize that you think you're going to die for a few minutes, and when it's gone, it's gone. You feel great. So I feel fine.
You're ready to go for this season?
Yes, ready to go.
All right. And how many wins will it take to get the Tigers into the playoffs? What's your prediction?
Well, I have no idea. We don't ever know that before the season starts. It may be 85, it may be 89. Our goal is to get the one that we need to get there. If it's 89, get there. If it's 90, get there.
Coach Bill Garner, thank you for joining us on Spotlight today. Good luck on opening day, and good luck throughout the entire season. Thank you for joining us from Tampa.
You bet.
We'll be back in a moment with more guests from the Detroit Tigers. Stay with us.
Life is full of hassles. Having genital herpes is one of mine. I used to take Zovirax 5 times a day. That was a real hassle. Then my doctor told me about Valtrex, just twice a day.
Just another day.
Valtrex for genital herpes outbreaks. FDA approved for just twice a day.
Nothing in my way.
Valtrex is made by the same company as Zovirax, and it's the same kind of medicine. But each dose of Valtrex puts more medicine into your bloodstream, so it lasts longer and you don't have to take it as often. Common side effects for Zovirax and Valtrex are headache and nausea.
There were so many times when I forgot to take my pills. Twice a day is so much easier.
Remember, there is no cure for herpes, and even with treatment, it may be possible to spread herpes to others. To avoid a potentially serious complication, tell your doctor if your immune system is not normal because of advanced HIV disease, bone marrow, or kidney transplant. Call for a free trial coupon and ask your doctor about Valtrex.
Valtrex just twice a day. I can handle that.
Nothing in my way.
The most powerful weapon against domestic violence may be in your own home. So please, donate a wireless phone you're no longer using. It might just save a life.
Do you take this girl to be your daughter?
We're home. This is where we live.
To have and to hold.
Am I doing this right?
To love and to cherish.
She's got Mama's lungs.
To protect with all your being her 10 fingers and 10 toes.
Is it inside out?
Daddy was a little girl.
For as long as you both shall live.
You did good.
Next to you, no one does a better job of protecting the people you love than ADT. We're always there with the most advanced monitoring technology to help keep you safe in more ways than any other security company. Safe from burglary, fire, flood, carbon monoxide, and more.
Here we are, your room. This is where you're going to sleep. We hope.
Call now to get ADT installed for as little as $99 and get a free mobile 911 phone to help protect you wherever you go. Do we promise home security you can count on?
Daddy's got you.
We do.
Welcome back to Spotlight. Joining us now is Jim Stapleton. He is a member of the Detroit Tigers Community Advisory Board. He's also a local attorney who wears several hats and works with a lot of different people, but here today in his capacity representing the Detroit Tigers. And Celia Bobrowski, she is Director of Community Relations for the Detroit Tigers, and we welcome both of you to Spotlight today.
Good to be here.
Let's kind of pick up where we left off with Phil Garner. A few years ago, the Tigers were under attack by several people in the community, the NAACP and others, saying that this organization, which wants to build a new stadium in the city, has not done enough for the community, et cetera, et cetera. Some would agree, some would disagree. I'm sure Mike Gillies would disagree. But that was a few years ago. Mm-hmm. The impression I get is that things have changed. Jim, let me begin with you. A community advisory board, I don't believe existed 5 or 6 years ago. Is this a result of that, and what is it all about?
You know, that's interesting because there's always been the perception that the board was formed as a result of some sort of action to take against the Phil Garner hiring. That wasn't the case at all. When I was asked by John McHale about 18 months ago to think about the concept of the board, he told me that there was almost a sense of frustration on the organization's part as it relates to the type of community activities that they were already doing that people just didn't know about. Mm-hmm. And as our colleagues were formed, as we looked at the board itself, we found that to be the case. When we got together, we were stunned at some of the things that were already going on that even we did not know about.
That the general public didn't know about.
That the general public didn't know about. And so, from our perspective, our role has been one more of strategic planning, maybe packaging information better, and helping the organization get its message out more. And that's where I think we've been successful.
How is the Community Advisory Board made up? How many people are on it? Who are some of the people?
My colleagues include S. Martin Taylor, Senior Vice President of Detroit Edison, Tom Goss of the Goss Group.
Okay, used to be with University
of Michigan Athletic Director. Carmen Munoz of MMBDC.
Prominent businessman.
And Nate Ford, a local businessman in town.
Specifically, what are some of the community outreach programs that you have?
Well, I would say our focus is on youth recreation and education. And as we speak right now, we have a program going on where we have brought in a national speaker to speak to some Cooley High School kids about dating violence. This is given by a man who's actually had 2 children killed, and one of them was actually murdered by as a result of injuries from a professional athlete. So our focus is to try to develop the whole individual, the whole child, and we do that. One of our, I guess, our really classic programs is called First Base, where we touch on the child as a whole, and educationally, we give them some study skill programs. Recreationally, we have some baseball skills camp, and then the life skills portion, the one I just talked about. And that's one program. We do things like we encourage kids to stay in school. We reward them with tickets for perfect attendance. We have all kinds of programs, scholarship programs. We have programs where we encourage kids to do art, essay, and poetry. You know, we have a score of educational and recreational programs that carry on throughout the year.
So I would assume you would have to work closely with Phil Garner and the players to be able to get the players out to participate in a lot of these
things because they really are your ambassadors. I mean, they're the best known of the Detroit Tigers.
Absolutely, and they are some of our unique resources, and it's not a struggle. I mean, they are more than willing to participate and be part of the community. They come to us.
You don't have to twist their arm.
Absolutely not. On the contrary.
You don't have to give them extra pay.
No, they don't get any pay, as a matter of fact. This is something that's not in their contract, which is nice. They do it because they want to do it, and I can't tell you how many players and coaches come up and say, I'm here, I'm available, please let's go out into the community, with children especially. They really want to get the message out, you know, stay away from drugs, stay in school, give positive messages, and they're really good at it.
You know, Celia talked about a lot of the events that she was mentioning in terms of public schools. We announced on March 26th the season-long initiative with Dr. Ken Burnley and John McHale, where we had a press conference announcing all events for the Detroit Public Schools. So in terms of packaging the events a little better and maximizing the resources we do have, that's how we think we're going to offset the fact that we may not have the resources, the financial resources that we might be used to.
What number should people call if they want to bring groups, maybe groups of kids to the ballpark who normally would not be able to afford to go on their own? Is there a particular number?
Yeah, sure. Call 313-962-4000 and ask for community relations.
All right, very good. I think you'll get a lot of calls. You better be prepared.
Great.
All right, Celia, thank you for joining us today on Spotlight. Good luck with all the things that you're doing, and good luck with the season this year.
Thank you.
Hope that we make it to the World Series. Jim, thank you. It's always a pleasure having you.
Pleasure.
All right. We'll be back in a moment with the man who's really in charge of the day-to-day operations from the Detroit Tigers, John McHale, president of the Detroit Tigers. Stay with us.
Blue Thunder, the new Chopper 7. Now, when news breaks, Chopper 7 gets you to the story first with satellite mapping. 5 onboard cameras get you closer to the news than anyone else. And 2 navigation computers have Chopper 7 on top of the action when other choppers are grounded. Keep watching the skies, Detroit, for the new Chopper 7, where 7 stands for news.
What happened to Juliet? She disappeared without a trace. There are too many questions and not enough answers. Now, the investigators are getting involved to get to the bottom of this mystery. Into Thin Air, an Action News Investigators Special Report. Monday on Action News at 11.
There are lots of ways to equip a car. And right now, when you buy a new 2001 Chevy Cavalier, we'll give you $2,500 cash back. So you can equip your Cavalier any way you like.
Bonus.
The $2,500 Chevy Cavalier bonus. Residency restrictions apply. Call for details. And see your Chevy dealer before it ends April 20th.
Make your health your #1 priority. Join Channel 7 and Project Healthy Living and take advantage of free and low-cost health screenings. Call this number for a site near you.
Got a problem? Let the investigators solve it for you. Just call area code 248-827-4387 anytime, day or night.
Are you prejudiced? Test yourself. Fill in the blank. This man is... This man is... This man is... The correct answer is... walking.
Different people, common ground.
We're back on Spotlight, joined now by John McHale, Jr., President and CEO of the Detroit Tigers, a man who was born right here in the city of Detroit, played football at Notre Dame, holds a law degree, and is now entering his 7th season in charge of the Detroit Tigers. Appreciate you joining us in studio just a couple days before you guys come back to Comerica Park and start off that 2001 season. Let me ask you, last year was first year for your new manager, first year for a new stadium. The team did okay. It was still a losing season, but there were certainly some bright spots in there from the playing standpoint. Wonderful year for the stadium. You packed them in. Everybody was excited about that. But you know how fans are. They'll get used to the new stadium real quick, and they want to know, is this team going to be a winning team? Otherwise, it could affect how many people are sitting out there in the seats. As you go into the second year, what concerns do you have, and how optimistic are you that things will become a winning season?
Well, Chuck, this is a great time of the year for optimism. Our goal is to win the American League Central Division. It's a lofty goal, but we're not just satisfied to be competitive. We're not even just satisfied to finally play at 500. We want to be the very best in our division and bring a championship to Detroit. It will take a lot of things going right for that to happen for us this year, but we all are firmly convinced we're a better team than we were last year, and there are good stories and bright things to point to, which we have looked at and talked about over the course of the winter, even though, as you mentioned, we finished 79 and 83, a few games below 500. We think our players are better, our team fits together better, and we very well understand, especially in this market, that we're always going to be judged on what we do on the field, not just on the elegance and beauty of the ballpark.
You don't have that big name marquee player. Juan Gonzalez is gone. You don't have all the names that you see on the Yankees roster. Do you think that that's going to perhaps be better, or will you have to pick someone up like that somewhere during the course of the year, one, to pack the folks into the stadium, and two, just to give you that firepower that you need?
Well, I think we draw some lessons from our experience last year, and of course that trade that I made didn't work out quite as well as we hoped it would.
I like the way you fess up and say that I made.
However, we do think that we have cause for optimism. We think that Dean Palmer is a very solid player on both sides of the game. Bobby Higginson had a tremendous comeback year last year, and we look for more from him. Our pitching staff has taken giant steps forward. We were 5th in the American League in ERA last year, which I think is the most important measure of a pitching staff's effectiveness. The first time we've been in the top 5 since the late 80s. We like the new catcher, Mitch Molesky, and Roger Cedeno brings a dimension to our club that we haven't had. He can play the outfield, he can lead off, he can steal bases, stole 66 2 years ago for the New York Mets. So when you add that to what we hope will be a comeback performance for Clark and Easley, both hampered somewhat by injuries, continued 300 hitting performance by Debbie Cruz, we like our chances.
I know you to know that you're pretty serious about this as not just a fun game, but this is a business as well. And I've seen you at the stadium with your binoculars, and you know, when everyone else is smiling, you're real serious, focused in as a good business person would be. The economy is sort of going up and down, certainly slowing down. You guys have had to trim the roster. You cut back by about $5 million this year. Does that concern you, that you aren't going to be able to spend the money that perhaps you need to in order to get the job done, especially with a strike possibly looming down the line?
I don't think so. Focusing on this year, as I said, we think regardless of what we end up spending, we have a better team. And anybody that knows Mike Ilitch knows that if we are able to be in it in the latter half of the year and have a chance to make the playoffs either by leading the division or by being in the wild card hunt, he will empower us to make the moves that we can make to give us the best chance to do that. Everybody on our side of the organization is absolutely confident of that. The economic conditions in this community, of course, are always a concern to us. They affect us just like they affect every other business, but we also like our positioning in terms of being a very family-friendly entertainment option. Our prices are unchanged from last year. A family of 4 can still come down and go to a ball game and have something to eat for $32, which is a pretty good bargain.
John McHale, do you think there's a better than 50-50 chance that there will be a strike this year?
Chuck, I'm an optimist, and in accordance with the commissioner's wishes, I have to forswear any comment on that subject.
Let's talk about some things off the field. We talked with some of your community people. We know that you're doing a lot of things in the community. A few years ago, as I mentioned to Jim Stapleton, you guys were under fire for what some viewed as the lack of diversity, not hiring enough minorities, not doing enough business with enough minorities and women and others. It appears as though that is starting to turn around. Are you comfortable where the team is at on the business side right now, or do you have some bigger goals?
Oh, we have bigger goals. The status quo is never satisfactory to us. We like our rate of increase, we like our rate of progress, but it will be incumbent on us to continue that. We're quite proud of the fact that we were invited to be a showcase club at Major League Baseball's Diverse Business Partners Conference in Arizona just about a month ago. We were able to tell our story and describe to other clubs how we implemented that program and how we have been able to increase our business with diverse partners. But we have much more to do, and we will continue to focus on that part of our business as we have promised we would.
Bobby Higginson, as of when we do this interview, he is not signed yet. Do you think that that's going to be coming before the season begins?
Well, it's hard for me to tell because there are two sides to the negotiation.
Sure.
We've made Bobby an offer which is entirely consistent with what the market suggests he ought to be paid. We've made a 4-year commitment to him at numbers which are mind-boggling to most of us, and we hope that that's enough to convince him to stay in Detroit. We think that this is the right place for him, that his personality fits here, that he is appreciated here in ways that he would not be appreciated in other cities, and we're hopeful that we can get a deal.
2 final questions. How important is character when you assess what type of player you want to hire? Regardless of what their innate ability is, how important is that in terms of the makeup and the fabric that you want from this team?
Well, personality, or as you said, makeup, in the colloquial baseball language, is a huge element in evaluating players. It's important to Phil, it's important to Mr. Ilitch, it's important to Randy, and it's important to me. The ability to focus on a goal, to improve yourself, to deal with setbacks and failures, because baseball is essentially a game of failure, is an essential element to a championship personality, and it's something that we always look for and focus on in our scouting.
Final question, and the time we have left, about 30 seconds. We know that this is a big year for the city of Detroit. It's 300th birthday, but it's also a 100th birthday for the American League. And I understand that you actually went to the wall up there in New York to try to get the commissioner to let you do some special things to tie into that normally they don't do?
Well, the commissioner was very receptive to our pleas. We're going to be a double sleeve patch club, and I think the only one in Major League Baseball this year.
So Detroit 300 over here.
And the American League founding member, 100 seasons on the other side. We'll have our own celebrations at Comerica Park on April 24th for our 100th anniversary, and then July 18th we'll celebrate Detroit 300 as well. So we'll have a lot of excitement down at the ballpark on the basis of those 2 anniversaries this year.
All right, John McHale, good luck with the 2001 season, both on the field and off the field, and you know that all Detroiters will be rooting for you, and we appreciate you coming in and talking to us about it today.
Thanks, Chuck. I'll see you down there in a couple days.
All right, sounds good. And I'm Chuck Stokes. We'll be back next week with more newsmakers in the spotlight. Have a good week.
Later today, for the most up-to-date information, watch Action News Sunday at 6 and 11 on 7.